So a few weeks ago, we were all captured about the story and the discourse between Lauren LaRosa and Jess Hilarious.
Jump in every single time there's dead air. You know what I'm saying? When you overtalk. And it's like the only time you can quiet down is somebody be like, shut up or hush.
My mom don't even tell me shut up, Jess. I'm a grown-ass woman.
And I understand. You could have said that on air right then and there. Or right after when you saying you put me in office. You never put me nowhere to tell me that.
Because the way that I do things when it comes to my job and my career, that's not what we on.
And as some of you remember, there was this whole controversy online about Jess Hilarious breaking down and feeling like she was basically in a hostile work environment and feeling like people were trying to push her out and replace her with Lauren LaRosa.
Oh, Lord. You know what I'm thinking?
Get the fuck out of here, bitch! Oh!
She both had that feeling because of the way her co-workers were acting around her and the fact that some of her segments were being pulled from her and given to Lauren LaRosa. And she would also have felt that way because the public were vocal about the fact that they preferred the ways in which Lauren LaRosa presented information compared to her.
I don't fucking like you.
What?
I said I don't fucking like you.
You don't like me?
No.
And also, some people really thought that Lauren LaRosa has better chemistry with some of the people on that panel than Jess Hilarious does. The reality is Jess Hilarious hasn't been on Breakfast Club for a long time. I mean, she's probably been there for 2-3 years, I don't know. But she took a long maternity leave. But the reality is the audience doesn't feel that level of attachment toward her yet. And so for the audience, the reality is for the audience, she's still very much replaceable. And so people are kind of thinking, oh, looks like there's a replacement here who's doing a better job than you, who has a better relationship with the others, who seems more professional, who seems to communicate information better. But then a lot of people took issue with the fact that it seems like she was also placed in a very hostile work environment, and people can understand how hurtful it can feel to be replaced in front of your eyes and to feel like people who are supposed to be your allies, your co-workers who are supposed to support you through this process are kind of contributing to almost an effort to push you out. And so people were very friendly toward her, toward Jess Hilarious, because everybody had empathized with the situation she was put in, regardless of whether she has or lacks the talent to do her job. Now, what I want to talk about today is the fact that if you put that situation aside, now that we've had time to breathe on that situation and let it kind of pass a little bit, it's time for us to acknowledge that Jess Hilarious is just very bad at this shit. She's just terrible at this. And people can be very talented, incredibly talented, amazing comedians, and not be completely fit for certain jobs that require a combination of a comedic ability and a professional ability. Oh, wow. An ability to transition very quickly between your comedic voice and your professional voice. Oh, okay. And you need to be able to manage all those skill sets at the same time to deliver a cohesive show, especially if it's 3 hours long.
Do you want to fight? Do you want to fight? Okay, then.
What I've come to understand by both following Jess Hilarious and loving Jess Hilarious's content online and looking her completely fail at this job on Breakfast Club is that some people only thrive because short-form content became available. When you see the segment that Jess Hilarious does, I'm Jess Hilarious, it's my news, and my news is real, that shit is freaking amazing. It's not just funny, but it's creative in ways that I haven't seen anybody do. She is incredibly talented at that. You put her in a long form environment, and I've never seen her live, but I've heard her do the 3 hour show on the Breakfast Club. You can see just how, and I hate to use those words, but it's never been more appropriate. She is actually incompetent at this job. God damn! I have a hard time imagining anyone being as bad as she has been. And I don't really remember what the audition process looked like or how she performed at the audition process, so I don't know if it's just a matter of a lack of consistency in her work. But every time I pay attention to Jess Hilarious, it seems like she's doing a terrible job. First, there's the part of her looking constantly, repeatedly inebriated.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a nice day.
You're welcome.
Jess, fix my mess, maybe. 800-585-1051. Jess is here. She's a little intoxicated. A little.
Yo, stop telling everybody business all the time.
They can hear it.
God damn,
They gonna
bro.
think something else happened.
They don't. No, they not, yo. Yo, I know I sound like a stud today. I know.
You sound like a stud any other time.
And that's not because I've not seen people looking like they had a good night before. Like, sometimes you see Charlamagne looking inebriated as well. But when Jess Hilarious was high, everybody could know. Even someone who didn't know what weed was and how people looked when they had smoked weed could tell that she was inebriated in that clip. Like, her speech was slurred, her thinking felt lagging. Like, everything about the show was worse off because she looked bad at her job. And her interview abilities are also lacking.
Can you see this shit?
Oh, nah, I ain't seen nothing. I ain't seen nothing. Matter of fact, I'm blind in my left eye and 43% blind in my right eye.
So it's not really just a problem of consistency. The reality is, when we take a second to breathe and put everything aside, we need to acknowledge that Jess Hilarious might just be bad at her job. Whoever is in the HR stuff of Breakfast Club, maybe it's time for them to realize Jess Hilarious is not really the third chair of the Breakfast Club right now. Because the third chair of the Breakfast Club right now is empty.
I said what I said. Okay, well, what you said was some bull.